I'm going south, Route 66. Don't want salvation, just straight up kicks. Take me to the man with the snake in his fist. Yeah, that's the one, the TV evangelist. He got a gap in his teeth now, he's all his. But he claims that Jesus is his ventriloquist. And the devil, well, the devil gave him moves like this. I said, shut your wicked mouth, now give us a kiss. 'Cause I'm hard like candy, just like you. Sweet little demon, I know him too. Dunk me in the river, I come out pissed. But keep singing those hymns, and I'll do the twist. Doctor says there's a rage inside of me. I said, really? I thought that was love, actually. I guess that makes me a walking Greek tragedy. Well then roll out the red rug, thank the Academy. I'm going south, no turning back. One day this train's gonna leave the tracks. I wanna squeeze you till you crack and crumble into the black. 'Cause I'm hard like candy, just like you. Sweet little demon, I know him too. Dunk me in the river, I come out this. But keep singing those hymns, and I'll do the twist. Do the twist. The twist. Do the twist. Here comes the twist. Here comes the twist. Here comes the twist. Here comes the twist.
The name of that song is titled Twist. It was written and recorded by my special guest today, Andrea Wittgens. The name of the album is called Big Dreams Little Earthlings. It was released on April the 25th. Andrea, welcome to the Friday Afternoon Music Mix.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
You contacted me when you were doing your Pacific Northwest tour. You were doing a show at White Branches in Mount Vernon and introduced yourself, which I was really grateful for because I had not heard of your album and dearly loved it. Played a couple songs from it already. You were heading to your last gig up in Vancouver. I've looked at several of these videos and listened to the album. I want to talk about this first song. It's got a very appropriate name to it. Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about Twist.
Yes, I'm not surprised that you have questions about this song. First of all, I have to say that there's sometimes when I'm writing where I myself do not know what it means right away. I actually wrote this for a songwriting challenge. I was under, not duress, but I was under a timeline, which is sometimes the best way for me to write. So I overthink things. I don't kind of get too precious about anything. I found myself kind of a drum groove that I liked. And I said, this was the first time that I decided I'm not even going to worry about any other instrument except for my voice, lyrics, and drums. I just had fun with it. The closer I got to the song in performing it and recording it, the more I realized that it was my way of handling existential angst in a playful way. That's probably the best way I can describe that song. You know, you've listened to my album and I tend towards the dark, but I always like a playful aspect of it. You know, like, hey, we're all headed into darkness at some point. Let's dance and laugh a little bit to help it. It also has kind of like, my whole life, I've been one of those people that's wanted a white light experience, some sort of, very sudden revelation, and I went to the mountaintop and God spoke to me. And now I know that this is my purpose in life. Ever since I was a child and I was first, trotted to the top of the church for First Communion, I was hoping for that. And I haven't really ever had that physical or visionary experience. So some of this is also me craving that sort of spiritual experience. First verse, references a TV evangelist with a snake in his fist. The devil talks to him, but then also Jesus does. Jesus talks to him through a ventriloquist doll, all these strange things. And I've always loved that mystery of like, maybe if I go down the right road, turn left and find that right cabin and meet that right weirdo person, I'll be shown something. It was just me having fun with that idea, basically. Yeah.
You have 3 albums and 3 EPs.
Yes.
I'm going to invite our listeners to take a look at your wonderful website, Andrea Wittgens, and let me spell that, please. It is AndreaWittgens.com. What she's done, her store for purchasing music and other items that are on there. She's got a great social media presence, Instagram.com/Andrea Wittgens, Facebook.com/Andrea Wittgens, YouTube.com/Andrea Wittgens. Great things on there, which we'll talk about here in a second. A presence on both SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Your album cover. Who designed that? It's fantastic.
I shot that photo right outside of Joshua Tree, on the way from Joshua Tree to Palm Springs in that windmill field. Charles Lopez was kind of the creative director, and he had this idea of the title of the album is Big Dreams Little Earthlings. And so we wanted it to feel expansive and kind of otherworldly, but at the same time, very mundane, because a lot of our earthling existence is kind of just trudging through daily life, and we're on the soil. Where he had this idea of like, what's the most just pedantic of things? Well, it's like a cardboard box. Just for the listeners, the cover of the album is me in a cardboard box, but legs up with gold stiletto heels on, an astronaut uniform, a silver astronaut uniform, which you kind of can't tell what it is, but then when you look at the rest of the album, you can kind of tell it's an astronaut uniform. So we wanted to really blend the whole album's about paradox, about duality. We wanted to blend the mundane with the outward-looking space exploration, spirituality, God, aliens, all these big things, but then also terrestrial things. The woman who put it all together into the vinyl design, which I just love, is Jacqueline Cruz out of Portland. She's a wonderful designer. So it was kind of a team effort. I was thinking, if you walked through a record store, how could you not stop at that album? Like, even if it ended up being distasteful, there's a woman in a box in stiletto heels with an astronaut uniform on, that at least I have to pause at that aisle.
Let's do a second song from this terrific album. This one is called Red.
Red, sweetest rose you ever met. But too long in the hothouse, you lose your head. That's what you get. The mind is sharp, but the eyes are dead. Red, skin to the touch, to the lucky scar. Wait for the shatter, it's a work of art. The bones are bust, but there's blood to the heart. Yeah, the bones are bust, but there's blood to the heart. Red, golden threads round her neck. Now I'm about to do something I won't regret. That's what she said, and I believe every word she said. Red, are you woman? Are you flower? I feel too much, I feel nothing at all. I am graffiti on your tower. It's not love, it's words on a wall. Red, red, softest rose you never met. Teeny tiny thorns I barely bled. They say the angels wept. Watch yourself, that'll go to your head. Red, buzz to the kill like a swarm of bees. Living the lush life down in the weeds. Spit it out now, that sour is sweet. It's the two lives that'll make me sweat. You can watch me burn in infrared. Plastic petals round the bed. The rose is less wild than I am. Are you warm? Are you flower? I feel too much. I feel nothing at all. I am graffiti on your tower. It's not love, it's words
You must go to YouTube and see Andrea's terrific video for Red. This is just wonderful. The scene in it that mimics the movie Carrie, where you're covered with blood and these piercing blue eyes are sticking out from all this red covering over the top of you.
It's so funny because I just edited a behind the scenes for my Patreon folks. I recorded that whole scene, us trying to rig the pulley. If listeners are familiar with the movie, basically Carrie's standing there in a prom dress with flowers. The mean kids rig a bucket of pig's blood and pull the pulley, and it dumps down on her right when she's about to accept her prom queen crown, I guess. So we kind of did the same thing in my videographer's backyard in Joshua Tree. Courtney Armitage is the director, editor. I told her that this video is about female rage or female repressed feelings. Often women are kind of socialized to be pleasant, to be the caregivers, to not show anger, to maybe not even show extreme sadness. But yet we are human and we have those feelings. And if you repress something long enough, it's probably going to come up at some point. So she had the idea that let's represent that sort of repressed rage through Carrie, who is a sweet girl until the end. And then she kind of, realizes her powers. And I just loved it. I love horror films. I love cinema in general. But both Courtney Armitage and I were big horror fans. And so when she said that, I was like, when can we start? We started the video with, to mention another movie, Midsommar, kind of a Midsommar. That's an Ari Aster movie that takes place in complete daylight in Sweden, but it's the eeriest, scariest thing ever. So we started with, May Queen flowers and a nice white dress and a pleasant face. And then slowly, as the video progresses, we started cutting in Carrie stuff where it got bloody and it got rageful, and I started to lose my mind. It was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. It was really, really wonderful.
On your website, in your merchandising section, I had never seen a USB cassette.
Isn't that cool? Oh, that's one of my favorite things. The whole album is a big nod to the 1980s. That was the decade of music where I came of age. It's also the decade my producer, Angel M, came of age. It's where we first fell in love with classic pop, deep wave, synth wave, big synths, the big drum sets, the drama of the 80s. And so because it's a very autobiographical album, we wanted to reference the 80s. So when I saw that there were cassette tapes that look exactly like a cassette tape, but that when you open them, a little USB stick comes out. I had to jump on those, and they've been very popular at shows. People really dig them because you can fit a lot of stuff on them. Right now I have 34 songs on ones that I sell, but it's 8 gigs. I could put on my whole collection if I wanted. I have a lot of musician friends that do that, and you can pretty much find any shape you want. It's a wonderful way to share tangible music in these days of streaming.
Let's do another song from this terrific album. This is called Do You Want to Fall in Love?
Everyone says forever. No one does the time. We've been ruined by romance, believing beautiful lies. But no one sticks with never. Everyone knows the truth. We don't ever stop longing, and I am longing for you. Do you wanna fall in love? Do you wanna risk your heart? Watch it bleed out on the floor, pick it up for more. Do you wanna fall in love? We can say we're different. Take it nice and slow. And if we end up the same and the crush turns to pain, we'll respectfully let it go. To rainbows, if that's the story you choose. I know I'd rather die trying than give up heartache with you. Do you wanna fall in love? Do you wanna risk your heart? Watch it bleed out on the floor, pick it up and ask for more. Do you wanna fall in Watch it bleed out on the floor, pick it up and ask for more.
That was a little out of the ordinary for you to write that beautiful song.
Yes, yes. And it is true. I mean, I like to joke that the only love songs I've ever written have been under duress. Um, like someone needs a wedding song or there's also this thing where, you're kind of expected as a songwriter at some point to cover love songs, to write a love song. And it's not that I don't feel love or I haven't been in love, but every time I started to do it, I always felt like, disingenuous or like it wasn't authentically me. This one came out very quickly on Valentine's Day, no less, a couple of years ago. How it is different for me is that it's not sickly sweet of just, I love you, we're always gonna be together, but it's really an ode to what true love is, and that is a lot of work and patience and commitment, right? You've probably noticed that it sounds a lot like an 80s prom song in some ways. It's very dramatic, it's got the big drums, it's got strings, really some very retro synths in there, and I wanted to refer to when you think of your prom, at least for me, I mean, that was the first time that I felt that the thing that we chase the rest of our lives, the tingly Hollywood version of love, which is, oh, this is the best feeling in the world. We're never going to be apart. We're going to, go away together. This all at 16 years of age. Love is great. We're never going to fight. We'll be together. Kids will be beautiful. We'll
Forever.
have exactly all that. So, you feel that way. And then I feel, at least myself, that I've chased that for a lot of my life, really like, oh, I need to have that same chemical reaction, that same fluttery feeling. And it's really just not the case. Anyone who's been in a long-term relationship realizes that no, it changes over time. There's a lot of patience required. There's a lot of communication, and sometimes communication that's not fun communication. I hope that it comes across to listeners as a hopeful song in that if you put the work in to, a relationship, that you will have this beautiful love that is different from the Hollywood version of love.
You're from Nova Scotia,
I am from Nova Scotia, yes.
but you spent some time in the grunge scene in Seattle.
I did, yes. I've been all over the place. I grew up in small town Antigonish, Nova Scotia. We pronounce it Antigonish. From there, kind of moved across Canada. I lived in Ontario and Calgary, and then realized that I wanted to work on music a little bit more intensely. So I started looking at the big music cities. Seattle was one of them because I had relatives who were in the industry and they were kind of encouraging me to go. So I was in Seattle for a while. I'm not a grunge player, you've probably noticed. It did feel a little bit hard to fit in there. I loved what I did there and I learned a lot there, but moving to New York, I felt like was able to more discover my scene. New York is so big that there really isn't one scene. There's not one sound. Basically, if you're doing anything, there's guaranteed there's another couple people who will think it's cool and be like, I do that too. I think I've been here long enough in New York to call myself a New Yorker. 15 years, I don't know. There might be hardcore New Yorkers who would say, nah, you gotta be born here.
There's one other video that I dearly loved on your website and YouTube channel, and that is called Crash Dancing. The videos on it, especially the vintage videos on it, are amazing. I'm sure you had a lot of fun putting that together.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was actually my first foray into video editing. That song was released by two of my co-writers who actually have a band called Sergeant Splendor. They are a wonderful band. You would really dig them, but they actually put that song out on their, I think, 2 vinyls ago, and it's really great. We were part of a songwriting retreat where you would spin the bottle and then get hooked up with co-writers. It came out of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. I've spent a lot of time in Wisconsin. And I just happened to spin the bottle and get my New York neighbors when we were doing this online with Kate Vargas and Eric McFadden, and then our friend Whammo from Wisconsin. We wrote this song called Crash Dancing because we could not meet in person to perform this song as we would normally do with a song festival. Everybody had to supply a video, and I signed up to be the video editor, and I didn't know what I was doing. I think I might have spent 30 hours straight just hunched over a computer, but it was a pandemic. Like, what else did I have to do? All that footage came from the Internet Archive, which is really fun to go through and just find some old public domain footage. It was really fun. I'd like to do more of that.
Crash Dancing, you can see it on Andrea's YouTube channel. My special guest today has been Andrea Wittgens, New York City singer-songwriter. She has a new album that just came out, Big Dreams Little Earthlings.
Yes, I got big dreams and I'm a little earthling, as we all are. Yeah.
Why don't we go out with title cut on that? Come back and see us again, especially when you're in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, in a heartbeat. I will be back in the Pacific Northwest in the new year.
Here's Big Dreams Little Earthlings.
All the ice had melted when they pulled you from the water and lit a fire around your trembling heart and called your daughter. They gave you teeth as sharp as nails and all the pretty flowers and a bed of grass under that tree where we would kiss for hours. Oh, oh, ooh, ooh. Past the orchard, out of brambles, you skinned your knees I carved your name on fallen statues. You painted flags on dirty sheets. Someone called it heaven. Then we climbed atop the masses. Took our giant steps across the sky and smashed our crystal glasses. Oh, oh, ooh, ooh. Big dreams, little earthlings. We are flying with fake wings, but it feels just like the real thing. First one to the bleeding edges, the smartest of the foxes. We crowned ourselves in neon, hid our bombs in metal boxes. Are you scared of dying? I said no one likes a killjoy. So we burned the land to blisters and flew away with the other cowboys. Oh, oh, ooh, ooh. Big dreams, little earthlings. We are flying with fake wings, but it feels just like the real thing. Oh, oh, ooh, ooh. Big dreams, little earthlings. We are falling with fake wings. It's gonna hurt just like the real thing. All the ice had melted when we planted trees and clover and lit a fire around our hopeful hearts and started over. Big dreams, little earthlings. Flying with fake wings, but it feels just like the real thing. Big dreams, little earthlings. Falling with fake wings, gonna hurt just like the real thing.